Hello again, sweethearts. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. And as you probably have noticed, this is a very new podcast. So I would appreciate a follow, a comment, or a like. And please do comment on some other topics. For now, I think the most urgent matter is the blue moon or the full moon in Aquarius, which is taking place on Monday the 19th, simply because it is such a humdinger in terms of nearly all the planets, bar Neptune and Pluto, are getting in on the action. So there's a little bit of razzle-dazzle going on here. Why do I say that? Well, not only have we got the full moon, which is triggering Mercury, which is still retrograde in Leo, which is kind of a problem, which I talked about on the previous podcast. We have that squaring up to Uranus in Taurus, but we also have Venus, which is in Virgo, opposite Saturn in Pisces, and those two are in a T-square with Mars and Jupiter in Gemini. Now, Mars and Jupiter are no longer conjunct, or they're separating quite widely now, but they're still effective in this T-square. So that's what I mean about all these planets on stage. And what does this mean? Well, it does mean a little bit of conflict because T-squares are filled with potential and energy, but they're really edgy as well. They can create some anxiety. And while in the last podcast, I talked about the full moon dynamic with Mercury retrograde in Leo, this time I want to talk about this mutable T-square that's involving the four planets, Venus, opposite Saturn, both in square to Mars, Jupiter, and what this means for you and how you can kind of get the most out of it. Because there's a little secret ingredient here that you need to know in order to navigate it. And it's something which may not really, it's not the first thing that's going to be on most astrologers' minds. So what I want you to do is stay focused on 2024 because there's still so much to do. Now, the fat lady really hasn't sung in terms of 2024 yet. There's still loads of potential, so stay ambitious. I know it's August and it's been school holidays for those in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's a time when people kind of check out. But when September comes, everything gets going again. It's a new season, brand new school year, and even if you're not at school, I think it kind of embeds itself in the mentality that you're beginning like a fresh cycle. And for those in the Southern Hemisphere, they're going into their spring. So it's also a period of renewal, basically, wherever you are. And that's why don't write off 2024 because an awful lot can be achieved. And I think that's important because you want to set out your stall now so that you go into the new year feeling you're on top of things, not feeling like, oh my gosh, it's 2025, I've got a mountain to climb. You can get the first steps of this mountain under your belt right now. And that's why I want to encourage you to stay focused on this year. So the T-square we've got in the mutable signs has abundant energy, but there are things that we need to unpack here. Because Venus is in Virgo, and now that represents Venus in its fall, because Venus is dignified in Pisces. So that means it's kind of, totally chilled and happy when it's in Pisces, Venus. But Venus in Virgo, stressful time for Venus and a lot of self-doubt. When you add the fact that Venus is opposite Saturn, you get all these questions, particularly in relationships, and issues of trust are a huge hurdle. So all of you guys who are looking for love and dating, don't be disconcerted by breakdowns of communication, by some sort of upsetting bits of information that come to light, or about criticisms from your partner. It's a time where everyone is a lot more self-conscious. And when we're self-conscious, some people deal with it in different ways. Some people become critical, a little bit cranky, and it's hard really to get those love juices going. So what's really important right now in relationships? Be pragmatic, be thoughtful, show a bit of care and concern for your partner, but always do your own self-care. Don't look to your partner to fulfill all your needs. In some cases, if you're going out, he may be ghosting, not as serious as blocking, which is really annoying, but he just might be a little bit more evasive, probably because he's got stuff to work through and deal with. Everyone has. What with the full moon and everything, we're all just a little bit more edgy and sensitive. And therefore, we need a bit of space. So give yourself space to do your own self-care, your meditations, to get chilled, relaxed, do things that really make you feel comfortable and good about yourself. and allow your partner to do anything they need to kind of blow off a little bit of steam. And things are going to be an awful lot better. So what have we got? We've got Venus in Virgo, Saturn in Pisces, Jupiter and Mars in Gemini. This is a three-legged table, right? The missing side is Sagittarius. Now, that means that the focus of the Mars-Jupiter energy has to be thrust over into Sagittarius. That's why the key to next week and to getting the most out of it is forgiveness. Forgiveness, wisdom, and seeing the bigger picture is all part of Sagittarius, and that's where we're focusing our mindset. So you don't want to get stuck on trivia and issues, because sometimes Venus in Virgo, a little bit pedantic, can be a little bit nitpicky, or it can bog us down in the facts, the criticisms, the angers we have. Not so much anger with Virgo, but the niggles in relationship, all those thorny issues can tend to prickle. But we want to move beyond those. What the energy reflecting over into the empty Sagittarius sign is telling us is to embrace forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Don't carry guilt, because it's a very heavy energy that negatively impacts relationships and affects your own self-worth, and therefore the way you handle relationships. So you want to be getting rid of guilt. You also want to guard against projection. Try not to project your issues on your partner, but be very wary of when they're projecting on you. That means you almost have to take a kind of 13,000-foot view of the relationship. Just feel yourself drawing away from it and seeing it as an outsider, seeing it from a distance and understanding all the dynamics at play, those that affect you and your partner and those that also are stemming from other people and the past, and have this global understanding. And then from that, you become a lot more zen, more relaxed, and it's easier to get into the right frame of mind for relationships. So the three things that are really important in love, in relationships, and just in general are forgiveness. People find it hard to forgive, but it's your gift. Forgiving another person doesn't free them up. You're not like giving them a get-out-of-jail-free card. You're not saying you condone or you're happy with what they've done. No, you're forgiving them because they're human and you're letting go of it, and then it becomes their baggage, not yours. So forgiveness is powerful. Forgiving yourself is equally powerful and very, very important. Everyone makes mistakes. And, some people over kind of think their mistakes. It's going to happen in life. Life is messy, right? Life is chaotic. It's messy. We all mess up, make mistakes, let it go. The other thing is be flexible. This is not a time to be dogmatic. Mercury is still retrograde in Leo, which means you've got to backtrack a little bit, reconsider things. So no being dogmatic. That's number 2. And number 3, be pragmatic about relationship problems. Don't overemphasize, none of this mountains out of molehills. Take it easy. A systematic step-by-step approach to problem solving. Don't expect problems to go away. Take care of them in bite-sized chunks. But, don't bite off more than you can chew as well. And you'll be moving into a positive new phase in your relationship. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I really hope it helps motivate and help you navigate next week in relationships. And I also hope you've now re-inspired yourself about the potentials of 2024, which is something I will talk a lot more about in the following podcasts. Take care. Thanks for joining me. Remember, again, I'd love a follow and a like if you enjoyed this.